Friends, hello everyone. Narrator is here. We continue the rubric of film retellings, and today we have the film Hall Pass, a story about how wives allowed their husbands to cheat and they began to use the opportunity to the maximum. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and put likes, and we start. Enjoy watching. The film opens with Rick, a husband and father of two, telling them about his youth while his wife Maggie is cleaning the house. They rush to the banquet of their mutual friend in honor of the award, Person of the Year. Along the way, they chat and Rick looks at the ass of a passing young girl, which puts him in a bad light in front of his wife. When they arrive at the place, Rick meets his friend Fred and they drink beer while discussing the girls. They exchange tips on how to look at other girls and not get ripped off by their wife for it. After the ceremony, they disperse and Rick and Maggie go to his house. From there he takes their nanny, a young student Paige, and takes them to the student hostel. On the way, she asks to buy a beer for her because she is under 21, but on second thought, he refuses her. When he gets home, he hopes that tonight he can have sex with his wife, but she pretends to be asleep. The next day, Rick and Fred meet together and discuss their questions about sex in married life. They then go to a coffee shop, where they stare at a young barista girl and talk about her among themselves. Their friend Ed sees this and invites them to his housewarming party. That same evening, they gather with a large group of friends and play poker, while discussing how much money each would give to have sex with a young girl and so that his wife would not know about it. Maggie, Rick's wife, overhears this and tells her friend Grace the next day. And they begin to think about giving husbands a celibate week on the advice of their mutual girlfriend. On the same day, they all go to Ed's housewarming party, who begins to show off his expensive house. Rick and Fred have fallen behind everyone, and it is at this moment that their wives and friends overhear on surveillance cameras their vulgar conversation about the mistress of the house. Ed and his wife are outraged by this and brazenly kick them out of the house. On the way to their home, their wives swear that their husbands have nothing but sex in their heads, and that same evening Maggie gives leave from marriage for 1 week, while she and her children go to her parents at that time. Rick starts bragging about this to his friend Fred, who also hints to his wife, but is rejected in return. That same night, Fred again was left without sex and he leaves to engage in masturbation in his car. This is noticed by the police crew and then Grace gives him also a celibate week. In the evening, he and his friends gather at the bar to watch how they will pick up to young girls. Before that, they decide to eat, but in the end, nothing works out for them and they go home. The next day, in an attempt to get a girl for the evening, they go to a golf club. But it all ends when they eat a weed muffin and start acting weird, shall we say. On the same day, their wives went to a baseball game, where the team coach invites them to a party in honor of their victory. They agree because they have a celibate week too. The next day, a group of friends gather at a bar and Rick gets the idea that it was still a stupid idea, but Fred dissuades him. They decide to drink a little to make it easier to communicate with the girls, but they end up getting drunk and sleeping off the next day. After, in an attempt to still pick up the girl, Rick goes to a coffee shop, where he begins to chat with a barista girl named Lee, and she invites him to the gym to work out with her. He does not lose the opportunity and goes with it. But unlike the girl who came to the appointment, Rick goes to the jacuzzi and accidentally falls asleep in it, and two guys are already pulling him out of there, because his body is completely numb. Fred finally decided to score on tackles and goes to the so-called massage parlor, but the screen opens and all his friends see him. He has to quickly run away from there. They lie together in a hotel room and have already lost all hope of the opportunity to really break away, but at the last moment their partygoer friend calls and invites them to the club. They happily agree, realizing that this is their last chance. At this club, Rick meets Paige, his babysitter. And he finds out that on that evening, when she asked to buy his beer, she wanted to seduce and Rick becomes uncomfortable with this. After drinking a couple of shots of alcohol, on the dance floor he meets Lee, the same barista girl from the coffee shop. At this point, Fred is trying to pick up another woman, and he's not even bad at it. Yes, she is not young and not so attractive, but this is his last chance. And while the two are still trying not to go home alone, Grace, Fred's wife, comes to the home of a young baseball player to give him a piece of jewelry that he gave her. But nothing comes out, she cannot cope with passion and they have sex. Maggie, Rick's wife, at this moment is having dinner with the team coach, but they don't get anything beyond dinner. Grace drives home and cries over what they did. After failing to control the controls, she gets into a minor accident because of this while Fred starts having sex with a woman he met at a club. Lee, who found out about Rick's single week, goes with him to the bedroom, where they begin to have sex. But at the last moment he changes his mind and decides to remain faithful to his wife. He finds out about Grace's accident and go into the room where Fred started having sex, but after such news he quickly runs out to the parking lot, having previously been punched in the nose by the very woman he found in the club. In the parking lot, he sees Lee's friend, a short man named Brent, who smashes his windshield because he starts having sex with his mom. Rick and Fred go to the hospital where Grace was taken after the accident, and at the same time they are trying to throw off the very short man who wants to cripple them from the roof. Upon reaching the hospital, Fred runs to his wife, and Rick testifies to the police officer about the attack from this boy. After being discharged, Fred asks her to forget this week and never think about it. They agree to this together, and Rick goes to his wife and does the same. In the evening they have a barbecue together, where they invite all their friends, and Fred and Rick are finally truly happy and appreciate their wives. That's the whole retelling of the film Hall Pass, the story of how wives gave their husbands leave from marriage and the opportunity to have sex with any girls, but in the end they have nothing and everything returns as it was before. If you like this retelling, then do not forget to click on the subscribe button so as not to miss new videos. Also like this video and watch other retellings on this channel.